Hello everybody, it's Nina here. Welcome to a new video. This is the third video in my postcard series, so if you've not watched any of the other two then feel free to go watch those, but I'll just give you a quick little rundown as to what this project is about. I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but for some background, my name is Nina and I'm an artist living in Shetland. And one of my little projects for this year is to create a series of postcards inspired by Shetland, the island, and yeah, get them made into little prints and sell them in some local shops. So that's the premise, and these are just some of the works that I have been working on over the past month. This is the last video of me actually creating the postcards, so it's quite a fun one with lots of painting in it, getting closer to the final stages of this project, which is really exciting. It's pretty cute. This one, I'm probably at the stage where I'm scared to put details into it in case I ruin it. I think I'm going to try and paint another version of this scene and play about with my watercolour pencils because I've been doing some illustration. Let me just show you. This page. This big old page of faces, and I'm pretty fond of a few of them. I'm using gouache paint as a base wash and then I used my favourite Darwin Inktense pencils and worked into the faces, often whilst the paint was still a bit wet, and I absolutely love how these pencils kind of just flood and kind of dissolve a bit, but are really rich and intense with their marks. I guess that's why they're called Inktense. That's funny. Yeah, so anyway, my idea is to kind of do this sort of technique but with the landscape paintings and see what happens. Who knows? I'm kind of also questioning whether I should be experimenting this late on in the process, but I don't know, I've got a good feeling about it. I've got another point. One of my favourite things about, well, if you've watched my other videos, you've probably heard me yap on about this. I really love my life drawings, like my drawings from in person, plein air, whatever you want to call it. I really like how I go about it and the kind of sketchy looseness that I have, and I think maybe this technique might be a good way of getting those sort of marks through into the paintings. That's my logic. Oh, I love it so far. I'm super chuffed with how this has just come out. It's very sketchy, kids illustrative sort of book. Maybe it looks a little bit messy, but personally, I think it's bloody adorable. So leave it for a moment. I'm gonna go have my dinner, but I think this could easily be a postcard just made like that, and I think I need to just continue following this rhythm. And then I think I shall have some work ready to be made into postcards that I really like. So yeah, I'm just going over some of the painting with a light wash of water, and then I'm gonna go in with the pencils. So I really liked this painting until I started bringing in the darker pencil, and I just felt like it was a bit too harsh, and I don't know, I'm not such a fan of it. I did enjoy like using those pencils on top of the kind of watery gouache paint, but then started to question maybe I should just work on a small scale, because obviously I was working on a bigger scale there. I feel like a lot of this project I have spent time questioning and trying different things, hoping to make something that I really like. I moved on to using this little sketchbook because it has kind of different paper, which I quite like how the gouache paint works onto it. Also, this sketchbook is the same size as what I would be printing the postcards as, so I feel like it was quite nice for scale. And I really like this painting, and I really liked working on this paper, so I ended up doing a few other paintings in this little sketchbook, some of which I do think I'll make into postcards. This one I really like, but as you'll see later on in the video, I make another version of it, which I think I prefer. So I did also do another painting of this little scene in this sketchbook, but I really love how this one came out, so this one is definitely going to become one of the little postcards. Yeah, it's kind of funny how many times I've painted this little scene. Ignore my wet hair, I just had a shower, but it is the 12th of April and I have decided that today is going to be the last day that I work on this project. I just looked at when I uploaded the first video of this series, and it was on the 9th of March, which actually wasn't as long ago as I think I had in my head, but it feels like I've been doing this for a long time, and as much as I feel like there's part of me that could continue making and searching for those perfect paintings, I also feel like maybe I need to accept that I have made some nice little paintings and that they deserve to get made into postcards, into prints, instead of like continuing to try and make more and more. Also, I have another project which has a deadline in like a month that I really want to be able to feel like I can invest all my time into that other project now, and I kind of feel like I want to get this project out of the way before I can do that. So I think the best thing for myself is just to put a bit of a full stop on it and be like, right, you've done enough, Nina. The deadline has come and now you've got to get on to the next stage, which is making them into prints, which is also going to be another little chapter in itself. So yeah, that's where we're at today, and I think I am going to I'm going to paint a little bit more because I have a few paintings which I like, but part of me also thinks that there's maybe another couple paintings I could make that maybe I'd like more. Which I know this is the like sensation, the feeling that I'm trying to get away from and trying just to accept what I've made so far. And also like realise that like in the grand scheme of things, I'm just making postcards. Like I'm making a little print. Like these are going to be such an affordable way of like purchasing my art. It's going to be like, yeah, such affordable art that I also kind of feel like maybe it's not a great thing to invest any more time into this. Yeah, I think really I'm just trying to say to myself like, look, Nina, I think you've done enough and maybe it's time to move on to the next thing. So yeah, that is where we're at. Probably see a load of mess behind me, but so it is about 7:15. Yeah, 7:15, and as I said earlier today, what paintings I have at the end of today is what I'm gonna go with for the postcards. And yeah, I'm just gonna show you what I have, what I think are the final results. I feel like part of me still isn't like totally fulfilled by every painting, or there's a few scenes or places of Shetland that I would like to paint, maybe try again, but I think I just need to remind myself this is a project I can do again. Like I could easily come back to this in a year's time and make another set. So yeah, I think we just need to not overthink it, to be honest, and just push forward onto the next stage in the process. And you know what, regardless, there are like a lot of these paintings I really like, so yeah. But let me show you what I'm gonna go with. So these are the paintings that I'm gonna go with for getting made into postcards. This is a painting that I did today, and weirdly enough, some of the paintings I did today I think have turned out really nicely, and I don't know whether it's because I've had like a limited amount of time and so like a healthy amount of pressure, and that's kind of just encouraged me to, I guess, step into this attitude, a kind of carefree attitude. which I feel like has worked. I really like this little painting. I think it's turning, like, coming up quite a little bit more green toned than in real life, but I really like it. So that's one I'm planning to make into a print. This is another one that I did today, and again, really like. I like the kind of playful looseness of it. It's not too serious, and that's kind of what I wanted from these paintings. And yeah, I think there's a bit of charm to it, I think. I really like that. And then this is an older one, which I think for some people they might not like it. I know that my boyfriend mentioned about the wire, so this is like a bit of wire that's twisted about, and he didn't get it, but I kind of don't care because I really like it, and I'm tempted to just get it made into a print anyway. So if you guys have any opinions on this one, please let me know. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Are you also confused at what these weird streaks of blue are? Or do you understand? I really like this painting and I really enjoyed making it, so this one I don't think I'm gonna make into print. I like it, but I don't think it also doesn't really fit quite with the other ones, I think, but it is a sweet little painting. Anyway, this is an older one that I did, and I think I'm just going to touch up the lighthouse because that's not really that clear. Personally, I don't love this. I kind of look at it and I think, I'm not sure if it's really got it, but this is of Sombra Head, so it's the most south part of the island, and there's like a lighthouse there, and it's quite a popular tourist spot. You can often see puffins there in the summer, so I'm kind of like, I don't know, this is one where it feels like the location is correct, but I don't love it, but I also don't hate it, so I think I can be like happy enough with it. And maybe it would be something that sells quite well, I'm not sure. Anyway, okay, then we get onto this one, which was the first one which felt like it was going right to me, and this is of a part of Sandwich, one of the villages in the south end of the island, and I guess the kind of most touristy part of it is that you can get a boat from here that takes you to this island to Musa, and there is like an ancient Iron Age broch. I really hope I got that right. I think it's a really sweet little painting. However, now I feel like I have a dilemma because I just painted another version of this painting and I quite like the other one, and I will just get it to show you. It's just here. Okay, so now I'm looking at it and I don't think it's actually that. Okay, this looks a bit too simple, but I think this one wins, I think. What do you guys think? I feel like this one needs something else going on. Unless I just did the clouds, I might just do a few things to this one and we'll see whether... One of those two. And then moving on, I actually did a couple paintings in this little sketchbook because I started to question whether maybe it was the paper that I was having difficulties with. So if you're not watched any of my other videos on this project, it's not been super straightforward at times, and I have questioned what I'm doing and tried out different things along the way. And most recently I was like, maybe it's the paper that I'm having difficulties with, so I decided to try different things in this sketchbook. It was actually the first painting I did, but I think I prefer this painting. I think this feels like more, I don't know, just feels a little bit more alive. I really do like this. But what I was going to show you was this little painting, which I did do. I feel like when I'm showing you all of these paintings, I'm going to start looking a bit mad, because do these paintings not look pretty similar? So you might question, like, why did I have to do this one? But I really like this painting, right? But then I went in with the coloured pencil and I then didn't like how things looked. But anyway, I then used this little sketchbook and I really like how this came out. this is gonna be one of the postcards, and I know that for sure. I'm really happy with this. I like it. And I'm quite happy that I have one of Lerwick. So Lerwick is the main town in Shetland, or really it's the only town in Shetland, and I wanted to do a painting of Lerwick in some variety, but I'm really not a very well established in painting buildings, I've discovered, and it's something I want to get better at, but not my area of expertise. So I'm really glad with, like, I'm happy with how this has turned out, because I think it's really quite sweet. So we're gonna go with that as a postcard, and I think that's, yeah, those are all the postcards. So I'll just like quickly fire through them so you can see. So this is gonna be one, this is gonna be another one, this is gonna be a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, and I think that is going to be the set. So yeah, those are going to be the postcards that I get made into prints. I've not made paintings of like the most iconic locations in Shetland, which maybe that's like a bit of a fault. Because if I'm making postcards, maybe I should be making them of the most like recognizable spots. But you know what, I'm hoping people are just gonna buy them because it's a little cheap print made by a local artist. Because yeah, as I said, I'm not gonna spend any more time on it, and I could have painted more iconic places, but maybe that's something for another time. I mean, I partly think this project is just as much about like being an exercise in putting, like, giving myself a target and a like defined project with a defined outcome and working to it, and yeah, making myself finish something. And I think, yeah, this project has been good for just giving me something to focus on over the last couple of months, and I'm hoping the more that I set myself these sort of targets and projects, the easier they become. Obviously, like, I don't know, I feel like you can never make the same thing twice, but I am definitely someone who I spend so much time overthinking when it comes to art making, and I think, as I've seen today, art making works best when you don't overthink, and I'm really hoping that the more I, as I said, do like set myself little projects, the more I can give myself the confidence to not have to overthink these things, and because I think that's so much of it. I think, yeah, art making and confidence, I feel like they kind of fall hand in hand, and yeah, I'm hoping to gain more of that through doing more. And yeah, I feel like I'm rambling and reiterating the same points, but I really think this has been good for me to do. Well, I'm definitely a bit of a perfectionist. I always have an idea in my mind, not necessarily like an idea that I can actually visualize, but I have a feeling and a sense of what I'm capable of, and I think sometimes when I make things I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't represent how I like feel inside. So then I'm continuing to search for those paintings that I believe are somewhere within me, and within my like capabilities, and maybe sometimes I need to just accept what I've made so far. And I feel like I'm making this sound really like downery, and I don't want it to come across like that, because I am really happy with some of the paintings. Yeah, I think, like, I'm looking at them and I don't know, I guess it kind of comes down to like I could continue to be like the person that kind of stands in my own way, or I could kind of remove myself from myself a little bit here, and just, you know, kind of push ahead, get these made into prints, get them into shops. And I think it's probably, there's just a huge part of me that is searching for perfection at all times, and it's a perfection of like my own mind. It's not of like what I think other people will think is perfection, because I actually know that a lot of the work I do, I think a lot of people won't view it in the way I view it. But yeah, I think in general, like, I'm always striving for that something. And really, when I think about it, I think now is the time that I need to just like make sure I'm continuing to like keep stepping forward and not just like get caught in the same loop of expecting like more and more for myself, and maybe just, yeah, step into the next, put another foot forward, because even in this next stage, which is about getting them made into print, so the scanning process and editing and ordering prints, like, that's all going to take time, and it's going to be another thing that I'll become a little perfectionist over. But I think it's maybe, yeah, important that I actually step into that next next stage. So anyway, that was so rambly, and I hope you followed along. Also, like, I just feel like what I'm saying sounds really negative, and I don't want to come across like that, but I think I'm just being honest about like how I think about things as an artist, and I think I'm aware, or I'm becoming more aware of how I maybe stand in the way of myself sometimes, and maybe someone else needs to hear this too. Yeah. Anyway, on to the next stage of the process. Okay. I'm not sure I really like articulated my point there very well. What I'm meaning by like wanting to keep on putting a step forward is that when I like, sometimes it's helpful to zoom out and to realize like the scale of this project. This is like a fun beginner project, I would say, for me. Like, this is a step into like becoming an artist, like someone who's actually trying to actively put their work out there, make money from it, grow from it, that sort of thing. And really, like, if I stay stuck in the process of trying to make these postcards, then I'm never going to be able to grow and learn from the next steps and the next projects that follow. Like, really, the longer I stay focused on this project, the more time it takes from other things, which might actually bring me more growth. At least using a little bit of logic here and not letting my emotions totally guide me in the process, which maybe can be a little bit difficult for us artists, because I think it can be an emotionally driven process. But yeah, hopefully that maybe I've cleared up what I was meaning there. Really, it's just like I want to keep on making progress, sustaining momentum, and moving on. I want to tick it off. I want to know that I've achieved this thing and I've followed through with the project and it has an end point, because yeah, I think that's always been my, like, the thing I'm maybe most challenged by, is knowing when something is allowed to be done and when to move on to the next thing. So anyway, I'll just close off the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know what postcards are your favourite. Feel free to subscribe and like the video. Well, I've also never actually mentioned I have an Instagram as well, so if anybody wants to follow me in there, the link's in the bio. So I post all my arty things in there as well. But yeah, thank you very much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!